Hello everyone, my name is Jason, and this is the second video on Gale courses at Aurora Public Library. If you haven't watched the first video on enrolling and registering for an account on Gale courses, please watch that video before coming back and continuing this video. In this video, I'll show you how to navigate the learning portal for a course in Gale courses, and I'll show you the different parts of a lesson. So let's get started. However, before a course starts, you can click on an orientation to get a sense of what the course will be like. But all the courses on Gale courses work the same way. So in the orientation for accounting fundamentals, we can go to course mechanics, the third link here, and this tells you how the course will work throughout the 6 weeks. So in the first sentence, it says, I will make 2 lessons available to you every week for 6 weeks. So for every week, there will be 2 lessons. And then once all 12 lessons are released, there will be a final exam. And after the final exam has been released, then you can take 2 weeks after the final exam has been released to take it, but you'll only have one chance to take the final exam, and we'll see that once we look in the learning portal. So if we go back to my classroom here, we can look inside one of the active courses. So this accounting fundamentals course started on January 13th. So this course is already running. So if we click on enter, we'll be taken to the learning portal, which looks a little bit different, but this is where the main lessons are held and where the main quizzes and everything else are located. So you'll see that we're in the accounting fundamentals page, and in the learning path, there are several different options. So in the first week, you'll only have 2 lessons, lesson 1 and 2, but since this lesson is already ongoing, we have more than the first 2 lessons here. So let's take a look at what each lesson looks like. So you can also take a pre-test to test your learning before you take the first lesson, just to see what level you are before you do any learning, but that's optional. And then we can take a look at the first lesson here under lesson 1. So in each lesson, it's broken down in the same way. So there is lesson material here. So let's click on the first lesson material, and you'll see it's text-based lesson material. So you can take your time to read the lesson material. Is broken down into different chapters. So for example, this first lesson, Chapter 1 is introduction, so we can take a look at this and take our notes here. And once we're done with the first chapter, we can go to the next chapter at the very bottom here and read that. So in order to navigate the learning portal, we can go to the top navigation bar here, and we can go back to lesson 1 here and see the different parts of the first lesson. So that was the learning material. So for the first lesson, there's 5 chapters here, so you can read through all 5 chapters. Then there's also frequently asked questions here that might help you if you get stuck with something in the lesson. And if we go back to lesson 1 here again, there's also an assignment for every lesson, and then you can go to the quiz here to take a quiz. So for every lesson, there's a quiz you can take, but for each quiz, you can take the quiz as many times as you want, and the score does not impact your eligibility for completion. So you can do the quiz as practice. So let's go back to the lesson and see what else is there. And for every lesson, there's also a discussion area. So you'll see that it's very active. So for this course and this lesson 1, there's already 347 new posts here. So if we take a look here, you'll see there are a bunch of people here posting around the world for this lesson. They're taking it at the same time as you. And if you have questions or if there's something that you want to discuss, you can always post a topic here or reply to another topic that interests you, just to get a little bit more discussion and hopefully a little bit more learning from talking to your peers. So the discussion area for each lesson closes 2 weeks after the lesson starts. So if we go back to the main accounting fundamentals page, we can see here, for example, lesson 5 isn't starting yet until January 27th. But the discussion for that lesson will only be available for 2 weeks. So for the lesson 1, so remember this course started on January 13th. So the discussion for the lesson 1 discussion area will be closed in 2 weeks after January 13th. So make sure if you have a question for a particular lesson to put your question in the discussion area before the 2-week limit. All right, and then the last thing in each lesson are supplementary materials where you can find different resources that you can use to further your learning for that lesson as well. So there's different supplementary materials for every lesson. So if we take a look at lesson 2, you'll see that it's broken down in the same way as lesson 1. So we have the lesson materials, the frequently asked questions, assignment, quiz, supplementary material, and discussion area as well. So for every course, the lessons are broken down in the same way. So it's pretty uniform in that way. So no matter what subject you take, the learning process is quite similar. So you can take courses in different subjects without having to worry about having a different way of learning that material, which is pretty good. So let's take a look at what else is in the learning path for each course. So we have the different lessons here. So there's 2 lessons per week for a total of 12 lessons. And then we also have resources that apply to the whole course that you can access at any time. So there's resources that include recommended courses, which are other Gale courses that the instructor recommends you to take after taking this course. So for example, this course is Accounting Fundamentals, and one of the recommended courses is Accounting Fundamentals 2. And there's also QuickBooks and Certified Bookkeeper. So maybe at the end of taking all these different courses, you can apply to become a bookkeeper where you live. So that's pretty cool for doing courses online. And finally, if we go back to the Accounting Fundamentals main page, we can see that there is a final exam. So as I said before, the final exam, and it says when it's available. So for this exam, it's available on February 19th. And you only get one chance to do the final exam for every course that you take. So if you don't pass it, and the passing score for our final exam is 65%. So if you don't get 65%, then you won't get the certificate of completion, and you will have to take another 6-week course to try the final exam again. So the good thing is that the quizzes for each lesson, so if you take a look at the quiz again, you can take the quiz as many times as you wish, so you can use the quizzes to practice for the final exam. So that way you don't have to take the course again, because you will pass the final exam because of the practice you get from taking the quizzes multiple times. So that's basically how to take a course and enroll in a course in Gale courses. So if you go back to the main Gale courses website under My Classroom, you'll see that there's another option here under report for each course that you take. So if you click on report, here is where you will find your quiz scores as well as the certificate of completion and the score for your final exam. So once you take the final exam, the results of the final exam are pretty much instantly available for you to see on the report page of that course. And you'll also have a link to download the certificate of completion if you have scored above 65% on that course. And then once the course closes, you'll still be able to download the certificate of completion under My Classroom. There will be a link here under previous courses where you can see that and download the certificate if you lose it in the future. But that is pretty much how to take a course in Gale courses. You will need to sign up for an account, but after you sign up, you'll be able to access all these different courses under the catalog for free, and you can take them as many times as you want. Meaning that if you want to take a course again, you can do so again if you want. So thank you for watching this video, and if you have any questions, please email us at info@aurorapl.ca. Have a great week and take care.